off the screen, please. And we'll need a microphone. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, anyone else who didn't get a chair there can bring up another one. Yep, we can spread. Can we please turn off the screen completely just for a moment? Because I think it might be less unpleasant for the... we've got the light in our eyes, which was okay before because we needed it. Yeah, it's not a lot better, but anyway. Is that better, do we think? Okay. Do you want to have a seat? Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, firstly, I think this is a good opportunity to thank all of our presenters who did such a stunning job. So we now are going into new territory, and with 2020 hindsight, I realised I wish I'd set up Menti. I will do that for the next session so that we can have questions from the audience. But I'm afraid what we need to do is get you to come and stand at the microphone, if you wouldn't mind, if you have some questions. So I will start. If you can come and stand at the microphone. I'll start with some general comments that I would love to introduce this session with, and then hand over to the audience, and anyone who is a presenter is most welcome to ask other people who are also presenters. Maybe you want to slightly curve the chairs. The common theme, as you would have guessed, was human learning, which we've got a lot of machine learning in this conference, but and quite a lot in this session, but not so much human learning. Though a little touch on sort of the personal informatics area as well, which we have another session on, but that makes this session really special. We have one paper that's strictly in the computer science and education area, or sort of helping people build technology, learn about how to do that, and most of the others are using technology to help learning of all sorts of very diverse sorts. Amazingly, 2 papers on piano, well, where the domain was piano, so that's fascinating and really interesting. There were also some other links in terms of things that sensors can do for us, perhaps mind wandering and distraction and so on, which was touched on but not a focus. I'm very keen to pose one question that links closely with the keynote we had. Nearly all but the CS Edish one, all but the first paper, certainly have a lot of data collection. And once you've got that, there is a clear focus on, firstly, handling that data. I'm very excited that we scored the one data paper in the conference too. We're very excited to have that here. But the keynote talked about the fact we're building these sophisticated systems, and should we be building dashboards that let people know what the hell is going on when they're using systems? I'd be very keen to know if any of you have ideas about that. That's a common theme, though I realise it's throwing you in the deep. And so maybe would any of you like to comment on that particular issue? Or I'll let you think about it while we take the first question. We had a question. Thank you.
I can answer.
Oh.
I have a strong opinion on that.
Okay, good.
I think actually we have already too many interfaces. So before we introduce another dashboard, nice, tricky thing that I have to learn how to use it and how to understand it. The nice thing actually I like with ChatGPT and similar technology is that the interface is more simple. Yeah, I personally need less information than more information. I already have too many of them to decently process them. And so this is why we always try to keep the technology that we build as least intrusive as possible. But probably others see it differently.
Okay, does anyone else want to comment on that question? Can we? No one? Ah, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have a very specific comment about that, but when I do like evaluation of the toolkit that I made, like I didn't expect like one of the elderly participants came to my studies, and I basically saw totally different things that I have never imagined. So one of the research theme is like that I have is enabling others, but I always focused on like college students, so they can show the creativity compared to other populations, but it turns out not. So when you do, so basically transparency and accessibility are the key when you build the models. And the lessons can be also applied to all the other techniques like the toolkit that I made or other method, the authors, produced. So I think, yeah, just one comment. That's what I wanted to add.
Okay, just one more. Michael, can I just ask you, what if there was, a very tiny button somewhere that you could click to say, okay, I've been using this for a while, but now I'd like to understand. What do you know about me? How do you feel about that?
What do you think? What I know about you is sorry, I didn't get.
Well, so you said we've got a lot of dashboards,
Yeah.
too many, and I agree. I mean, if you're using this application, you don't want to be distracted by this thing on the side that's separate. But what about there's the option that we think, well, I'm doing this eye tracking and building models. I'm doing this haptic sensing, building models. We've got lots of different sensors. And this system is A, keeping data about the individual learner, and B, building models, and C, perhaps actually using it to do some personalization.
Right.
What about being able to say, hey, look, right now, today, I would like to understand more, which we do not have as an option.
Yeah, but I don't think dashboards are the answer to that, because dashboards don't give answers to you in the way that you want to perceive the information. They have already a way to present the information that is pre-given, actually, and for such complex systems, the questions are very individual. Yeah, and so I don't know exactly how these interfaces should look like, but I would speculate that they are not like today interfaces.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to comment? I just wonder, you've got all this data. Well, yeah, and then we'll take from the audience. Do we have a question from the audience? Yep. All right, if you could come to the microphone, we'll take your questions.
I'm Sung Chen from Hanyang University, and I might have two questions, or maybe they can merge to one. So one is, so you guys are using a bunch of new sensor data, and I think that's really important, but what do you think is the final device format so like for the inertial sensor data, we are using as wearable devices such as smartwatch or smartphone, but like what about haptic data? What's the end goal of those devices? So we don't really have those devices, so what do you think is the real world device that can actually implement those kind of haptic feedback or electric feedbacks?
So if you're asking if I could wave a magic wand, what would the device be, or?
Yes, what kind of format will be like? So will it be like gloves are we wearing to practice piano, or all those sorts of things?
Yeah, well, we've got one other piano.
The question is, once more.
So what kind of device are we going to have to implement all the system with bunch of sensor data?
Sensor data. In our system, we use EMG, electromyography sensors. It's used for correct mass activity. So we use some wearable EMG sensors. And to apply EMS, we use small wearable devices to present electrical stimulator electrical stimulation. So,
Okay.
So, like maybe in the future, are we going to wear those kind of suit
Yeah.
that has all the electric sensors in it? And so like, yeah, would it be really our, would those kind of thing will be really our future, or are we thinking something else? That was my main question.
yeah, we believe in the future, wearable sensors are cheap and small, and many sensors are embedded in like the smartwatch, including image sensor and actuators, I think.
Thank you. Okay, if we could have the next question.
Okay. Hi, my name is Yu Jie. I'm a PhD student at Stanford. So I have a particular question around the two papers around haptic learning. It looks like each of you were trying to use different type of haptic feedback. For example, one is trying to use tactile vibration, the other trying to use more kinesthetic and actual finger movement. I'm curious, why do each of you particularly choose this particular modality, and how do you think it compare with each other?
Or would you like to combine?
I can go first. So a simple answer. We were specifically interested in this effective and discriminative nerve stimulation, and this can only be done by the actuators that we built, and that is the simple reason, because just we want to know if there is a difference in effect. Yeah, and of course electrical stimulation would be also an interesting option, but in Germany hell to do because of ethical issues.
Excellent. It's ironic that the two speakers are at the opposite side. If we could possibly, okay, yep, if you could answer quickly, that would be great.
I think the combination of vibration and EMS is great. And EMS also, I think it is suited to passive haptic learning because it moves automatically muscles. So we want to challenge the passive haptic learning by EMS in the future.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm a student at Georgia Tech. I think one of the most surprising things I heard today was that in the study where you're investigating learning via tracking people's computers, I was surprised towards students' attitudes, in that they were a lot more open towards being tracked than I thought they would be. I just wanted to ask, what sort of like, can I get some more specifics on what the students were asked in that survey? Like, were they asked, is this just a strictly lab setting? Is this in your everyday life? Stuff like that. The other one.
The other.
Yeah.
Could you please repeat your question?
So I was just surprised that students were a lot more open to being tracked than I thought they were. So I was curious if you could give any more specifics on what they were asked, and like any specific comments they had about it, whether this was something that was strictly in a lab setting or just like in their daily life, stuff like that.
It's interesting. Our main motivation is we want to know the students is entering and or learning. This question is so how to say some our motivation is our use the eye tracker and the mouse behavior could be less sensitive data to track the students' learning status compared to the video camera behavior data. I think our method could be more sensitive, more privacy-friendly ways.
Can I just ask, since it was an eye tracker, they had to actually put it on. they were actually saying, right now, I'm happy for you to track. Do you think that was an important factor? Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the next speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Isabel Lopez. I'm actually an education researcher, but I'm working at CSISE, so it's a really new field for me. But taking this back to education, and I guess this is an open question for everyone, but it's specifically, I think, relevant to cases. Can you think about or talk a little bit more about real, either formal or informal educational spaces, maybe how these technologies can be used and sustained, and what structures we need to build for that?
Thank you for your question. So your question is about the application scenarios of cases?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we have tested that the cases can be used in our daily life, specifically in informal cases, because our cases is in form of smarter glasses, so we can conveniently carry it at anywhere and anytime, so we can use it to read at anywhere and anytime. But for the informal cases, I think in the future we can try it. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I want to conclude the panel discussion and thank all the speakers. Sorry, you didn't all get to speak. We have posters at the back, and it's a very long lunch, so I hope that people will spend some time. The poster owners near them, they may be also presenters. Poster people, could you stand up? Excellent, if you could go there. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for being a wonderful audience and for great speakers, and we will still have this informal chat to ask the questions you didn't want to ask in front of everyone, and to look at the posters. Thank you again. Just trying to pick a question.
Yeah, it's very difficult because actually the spread is still it's the same topic, but the technology.